Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And this week I have a very special guest, my friend Chris Plank. And I would like to thank him for his time coming on the show with me and spending an hour of time with me just talking about all things OU sports and everything that's going on right now. Plank is a good friend of mine that I met several years ago, and he has always been so kind to indulge my craziness and introduce me to people and take me places and do all the things. And I am so thankful for his friendship. So I would like to welcome him to the show today. For those of you who don't know, he's a sideline reporter for OU football, and he is the voice of OU softball since 2016 on the Sooner Radio Network. You can hear him weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon on the PlankShow with his co-host Josh Helmer, and they talk all things OU sports and what's going on in the world on KREF. Plank can also be heard nationally on Fox Sports Radio every Friday night from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. with PlankShow, and Sunday nights from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. with Arnie Spanier. In his spare time, Plank loves to golf and he loves the outdoors. He is a father of 3. His son Will is 21 and he is a student at West Point. And Emma is 16 and Gwen is 10. He is married to his sweet wife Sarah since 2008 and they have a beautiful family. Again, I am very thankful for my friend Plank for taking the time to come on the show today, and I had a lot of fun recording this episode with him. He is so much fun to talk to and has so much knowledge about all the things OU, so I hope you guys enjoy this interview today. I would also like to give a huge shout out to this week's episode sponsor, Therapy to Go in Ardmore, and I want to give a little shout out to them because they're a very special sponsor for this episode with Plank and I, because I met them with their business here in town, and they host Chris Plank and the Plank Show on the Friday before OU Texas. He is in town and records live there from Therapy to Go, and I have joined him on the air there several times throughout the last couple of years. And so they are very kind to sponsor this episode. They're very near and dear to my heart, especially mine and Plank, and hosting us when I do a spot with Plank before OU Texas. So shout out Therapy to Go. Thank you for your sponsorship on today's episode. Okay, my friend Plank, how are you?
I'm outstanding. I just got done with my radio show, so we're coming to you live from one of our production rooms.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
You like the carpet on the wall? I mean,
I do.
Yeah. It used to be the whole place, and then our bosses, Casey and Brian, took over, and our studios are amazing. They've taken over. So this is like the throwback room here off of Alameda and 12th. So
I've never been there. I got to put that on my list of places to come. That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, because I was interviewing Eric, last week, and I told him that he of course is a large reason that I am doing this in the first place, but also I kind of blame you a little bit. Well, I don't say that blame's the word, but thank, I guess. But I never thought that being, especially on a camera and behind a microphone, was my thing. But then you just kind of threw me on there that one time, and I thought, well, that wasn't so bad. And then I wanted to do it again.
Yeah, it's and it's awesome because I think it's one of the coolest and most frustrating things, just how easy it is to do your own show. By frustrating, I mean that it wasn't available to me whenever I was coming up.
Right.
Probably good thing though. I had early in life, but then it's really awesome because you've got a great story to tell. You've got a great perspective on things. I went on a show that I taped on Sunday with a couple of guys, and one of the dudes said, "Hey, I met you and you told me I should start a podcast just if I wanted to get into the business." And it's like, I did. I think that's my advice to everybody. Hey, go start a podcast. It'll be great. But it was cool to see that, he's doing it. It's cool to see that you're doing it too. So
that's awesome.
This is really awesome. I'm real happy for you, and I can't wait to listen to all your episodes.
Thank you. Well, it's definitely been an adventure. I'm still in a learning curve, but I'm definitely thankful to be where I am, and I just decided to go for it. It was just one of those things. And then it's funny because when I started telling people, hey, I'm going to do this, I didn't really know what kind of reception I was going to get. And there were a lot of people that said, why have you not done this before? Because I will sit and talk football or softball for sure with anybody at any given time. I think, first of all, let's talk about the softball luncheon last weekend. That was my first time to ever go. I loved it. So I had a friend mention it to me some months ago, and she actually ended up not being able to go. And so I was kind of nervous because I thought, I don't know anybody who's going to be there to sit with, you know. And then I ended up running into a friend who I had no clue was going to be there, and that was
Well, I got
cool.
you to talk to for a long time.
Yes, and so I got to talk to you for a bit, and then I met Teresa, the lady at my table, and there were several sweet people at my table, and so I just started talking to them, and I thought, you know, we all have something in common because we're here. We all came here because we love OU softball, and that's what we want to talk about and learn about and do. And so, common ground already. So it worked out well, and it was a lot of fun. I got to visit with Coach Gasso briefly at the end, and she's an
Oh,
amazing lady. I know. And so it was just announced this morning that she's going to be the head coach for the women's national softball team going into the Olympics. So that's amazing.
yeah. And it's really cool because, the Olympics didn't have softball the last time around. And we're getting it here in Oklahoma City because
Yes.
we don't have a facility capable of it in the LA area. The people that grinch and moan about it, I think they just don't want softball to play its national championship in Oklahoma City. And the people that complain about the Olympic experience are just wanting to party in the Olympic Village.
Right.
I think it's really awesome that not only is Olympic softball, and there's a water sport that's coming here too, but
Incredible.
softball for the sake of this conversation. And Patty Gasso is going to be the head coach. Now, I haven't had a chance to talk to her about this, right?
Yeah.
This was sprung on me this morning. I was given a
Just,
slight heads up about
yes.
2 minutes before it
Oh
happened.
gosh.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, prepare yourself for this. It's going to take over your show. And they're right. Typically, in years past, when you're an Olympic coach, you don't coach your team for the year of the Olympics, right? And if you're a
Okay.
player in the Olympics, you usually don't play, and you get an extra year of eligibility. Mike Drea did it for a long time whenever
Mm-hmm.
he was in Arizona. So I'm fascinated to see how this plays out and see what the
Absolutely.
Oklahoma is supportive of it. They're excited about it. So when you got all your bosses on board, and when you get a group that finally realizes, hey, we've got the best head coach in this sport right there. You're in Oklahoma City as the home of USA softball, and you're the best head coach in the game is right down the street. I'm glad they were able to make it work because you're right. It's an exciting thing, not just for the Olympics, not just for Team USA, but for Oklahoma Sooner softball too.
So, as far as the softball luncheon, so how long have they been doing this? Because I wasn't even aware of it. And I had a lot of people when I posted about it, they were like, how did you find out about this? How long has this been happening? Which I saw it on social media. I think, it's pretty prevalent there. But how long has this been going on?
I think it predates me.
Oh, really?
They and there's been different. Another person you need to get on your podcast is Jackie Livingston.
Oh, gosh, yes.
He's the he's the best, and JT's a little bit better on history than I am. I want to say they used to do a season event that would kick off the season, and the girls would have to do skits. And
Wow.
because I want to say Grace Lyons and Grace Green's freshman year was the last year that they did that. And
Okay.
it wasn't a luncheon, but it was more of like a kickoff event.
Okay.
And as time progressed, I think it became more of a burden to have to come up with a skit. Because by the
Yeah.
way, Grace Green and Grace Lyons crushed it. They did a rap, and I was blown away by it.
That's awesome.
But I would have to dig a little deeper, but it's really cool. And it became a coach's luncheon. And we've done it at the Jimmy, we did it at the Noun. And then a couple years ago, Devin is a great supporter of softball. And they're like,
Yes.
you ought to do it at Vast.
It was great.
It was awesome. Now it was a cloudy day or a rainy day, foggy day. So
Yes.
we
I
didn't get
hated that.
the view that you get of downtown. But Coach Gasso really, she gives you all the scoop. And I think
She
that's
did.
coming into the year.
She did. That was incredible. I will definitely promote it more next year when I find out about it. I saw it on social media. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it, so I waited a little bit before I got my
Yeah.
ticket, and I'm so glad I did. I'll
It's awesome.
definitely
It's a great
I'll
event. It's a great event. And usually, there's I don't want to say more players,
mhm.
but this year, maybe the better way to put it is you'll know the players better. Next
Right.
year and beyond. This year is
Yes.
still kind of unique because
It is.
there's so much unknown. I mean, Ella, we got to know her for 1 year last year.
Mhm.
Nellie's our captain, and she didn't even play last year. And then, Kirsten Deal was there, and outside of that, everyone else that was there was new.
Brand
So
new.
it's a whole new world outside of the coaching staff.
It is, and I'm still learning those faces and trying to remember who's who, and I
Dude,
feel like I need to get on that because we're T minus 3 days. But I really enjoyed hearing the players talk the other day and just getting to know them a little more, and the little video clips and stuff that we've seen on social media throughout the last couple of months. And I'm excited. I since you brought up Nelly, she really sticks out to me for some reason. She's fun to watch over on the corner, and I do feel like she's one that's going to be like the one to watch this season. I mean, of course, I love Cassidy and Ella, and they've got big swings, and I hope they keep that up this season. But yeah, Nelly, I was sad last year when she didn't get to play because I had heard a lot of good about her and was excited to see her play. So I'm ready for this season for her. And there's so many good faces coming in, like the pitchers too.
yeah, you mentioned getting a chance to hear from them at the event that you're talking about, Larissa. There was Abigail Dayton. And
Yes.
Abigail Dayton, not to be confused with Bella Dayton, no
Yes.
relation. Bella Dayton was the Texas Longhorn. Abigail went to Utah, played under DJ, and is now a Sooner. Bella Smith. We got a bunch of Isabellas and Bellas on the
We
team.
do. Immerling.
It's all get out for a while. But Bella Smith hadn't pitched in the fall because there was some issues, transcript or credits or something. But she's got that figured out, and I think she's got a chance to be really
Mm-hmm.
good. Sam Landry wasn't at the luncheon, and I find whenever I'm talking to people about the season, I completely forget to talk about pitching. I just get because there's so much change. You're going to have 7 different starters at positions. Yeah, 7. Because the only 2 returning starters are going to be Pickering and left, and Sid over at first. Sid Sanders. You're going to have a new center field, right field. Center field, right, second, short, third, catcher. Pitcher. It's
Wow.
crazy. You have
It
different.
really is.
So, but I find myself really getting too caught up in that and not talking about the pitching enough. But boy, Sam Landry really found something in the
Yes.
fall, so I hope that continues because her changeup is just nasty. So,
Yes, I love it.
Kate Monticelli looks better.
She does.
Like she's really had a good lead up to the season, and the freshman Audrey Lowry is going to be a fun watch early. She's a lefty. I think she's got a chance to be really, really special. Might be a little bit more on the Kirsten Deal freshman year playing. Kirsten didn't pitch a lot of freshman year until late in the season, but I know Audrey Lowry's looked really good. So
Awesome.
it's going to be a fun group.
That's exciting. I listen to Tyler McComas a lot and his podcast, Diamond Envy, and shout out to him because I've already got him to agree to come on my podcast as well. So I'm super. Oh, that's awesome. I love him. I love him. He's super kind, but he talks a lot about Nelly as one of his favorites, of course, and Sam Landry was his favorite pitcher coming out of the fall. And I definitely did not disagree with him on that. She was fun to watch. So I am intrigued about Sophia Bordy coming in, and now that she's going to be on the bench coming in early, but it sounds like they're going to redshirt her and just have her there to, experience and train and all of that. And there's nowhere better to do that than right where she's at. So, but it's nice to have somebody else like her on the bench, even if she is redshirt, she'll be back next year and she'll be ready to go. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be learning. And I didn't really know much about Sophia Bordy's reasoning.
Yeah, I didn't either.
We talked. Where did we talk to Coach about it? Oh, it's going to be on the Sooner Sports podcast. It's going to drop this week.
Oh, nice! I'm ready.
There you go. So Sophia, I'll give you the scoop. Even though I think it's out there and everyone knows it, she'd graduated early and she was going to go work with one of the travel ball teams. And she may have, I think she may have an injury that she's been working through too. And Coach Gasso and Coach Rocha reached out and said, "Come on, yeah, why don't you just come on and you can learn."
Fantastic.
And redshirt you this year. And redshirting is something that Coach Gasso hasn't done a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of, Nelly redshirted last year because she was hurt, and then Brooke. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on Brooke's last name? Pitcher we had with the Texas A&M, Brooke Vessel. Brooke Vessel redshirted, and now unfortunately it didn't really work out for her at Oklahoma. But she ended up having a nice career at A&M and went to I think Ole Miss for a while too. I loved her; she was so awesome as a person. But it's just not common. And I asked Coach about it, and she's like, "I wish I could redshirt more, but in this era, you really can't."
Right.
So I think you're right. I think the goal is to redshirt her, but she's got a chance, and the issue that you have with softball and baseball is the same, and so is basketball. Football, you get 4 games where you can play for 4 games and you don't burn your red shirt. The moment you step on the dirt in softball and you're in the game, you've burned your red shirt.
Yes.
So that's going to be a real interesting conversation if things continue to trend the way they have for Sophia Bordi. And her mom is one of the greatest swimmers in, get this, University of Texas history. So her mom's a Longhorn legend,
Wow.
and she comes to us from, being a Sooner fan her whole life. So
Well,
pretty,
that's amazing.
yeah,
I did not know that about her mom, so that's super cool. It's interesting you brought up the redshirt rules. I had no clue. I mean, I'm more familiar with football and
right. You get
softball
4 games
than,
of football, you don't
yeah,
hear.
it still works. And I did not know that about basketball. I'm actually really good friends with Dayton Forsyth, his aunt.
What a
And
stud.
so we had talked about him and just, that situation. And she had told me that back just a few months ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no clue. But yeah, let's just go off and talk about him for a minute because Sparky, he's awesome, huh? He's fun to watch. Like I said, his Aunt Mandy's a good friend of mine. I've followed him throughout his high school career, and he's a short dude, but he's such a cute kid, and he's very athletic. His whole family is very athletic, and it's just fun to watch. And him coming out on the court when I was at the Texas game, which did not go well, obviously, but just watching him come out after half and the whole team just like completely changed and just took off when he got on the court, and he's been fun to watch. And I love that Toby's like nickname. I guess it was Toby that started it. I
Give
think
Toby credit. Yeah.
that started calling him Sparky, him and Kevin. And yeah, he's fun to watch. Even with his shiner, all last week he was killing it. So I watched Saturday's game. I just got to watch the second half, but he's so fun to watch, and I'm so glad he got a lot of playing time on Saturday. I think he had like 25 minutes and 14 points and 3 assists, three or 4 rebounds, I think. So good for him. I love that kid. I'm ready. I'll be at the game this coming weekend, so I'm hoping to try to meet up with him.
He's one of those guys that, and you see it when he comes in the game and he's guarding you, the opposing team, who's ever he's on, is like, hey, give me the ball. I'm
Oh
going to
yeah.
do. And he just flat out makes plays. And I don't know, maybe I'm a sucker for things like this, but I love whenever you get someone in your program that's been a fan.
Oh,
They really,
absolutely.
it matters to them that
Yes.
Oklahoma is good, and it matters
Yes.
to them that they're wearing the crimson and cream. So I find myself as somebody that really digs him, really roots. I found it interesting. We did a coach's luncheon. Well,
Hmm.
actually, it was the golf tournament that won
Okay.
Oklahoma, and I emceed it. And whenever Porter was introducing the players, everyone said something, and then afterwards, he was going to have one guy kind of give a message for the team. That guy was Forsyth, and I thought,
Oh, that's
okay,
so
there you go.
cool.
So you're putting a lot on a freshman early, and I think that
Yes.
he's up for it. It's. I say this. I know fans get frustrated with the lack of scoring at times, and they'll have offensive droughts and things of that nature. But this is a fun team. I like watching them a lot, and
It
Forsyth's the main
it
reason.
is. It is a fun team. Dayton, he grew up an OU fan, and his aunt, we were laughing just last week about how he had basketball birthday parties because his birthday's during basketball season, and you can have parties at Lloyd Noble or whatever. So he grew up doing that. So it's literally been his dream to be on that court. So like you said, it means a lot, like an Oklahoma kid that grew up being a fan, and now he's wearing the jersey and repping it well. So I'm excited to watch him the next few years, and I really hope the team finishes out strong and can make a good run in the tournament, because last year was disappointing, them not making the tournament, and this year has been a roller coaster to say the least.
Yep,
So I'm really hoping that they can have a
me
good rest
too.
of the season. I'll be there Saturday, so I'll definitely be rooting for a win then for
Well,
sure.
and I know Porter's just a great guy,
He
and
is.
he gets it. He understands what Oklahoma basketball needs. I know that number one on that is winning, but he's not afraid to go out to the fraternities and get them out to the games.
Yes.
He's smart and he gets it, and it makes me happy to see him roll. Now
Yes.
Auburn and stuff. As we tape this on a Monday, it could be an ugly Tuesday night, but
It
I think
could.
that they're gonna challenge him, so they'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a good road game for them. So I'm definitely hoping it goes in our favor. But I have enjoyed watching Porter just since he got there. He's really done well at getting the students to show up and get involved, and that's a lot of fun to watch. So I like him as a coach. I hope things work out a
Me
little
too.
bit better this season for sure. Okay, so let's switch gears to football. So we have a couple announcements with football, and I was listening to Gabe and Teddy talk about it on their podcast this week, and they're excited about it. So I'm excited about it. I mean, obviously, I didn't know much about either one of these guys coming in as linebacker coaches, but I mean, their names may not carry a lot of weight yet, but I'm hoping that they do going forward.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing in all of this is that Brent Venables has decided to call the defense. And
Yes.
again, we'll until until someone wants to tell us what really happened with Jim Knowles, we got reports, and can you trust those anymore? Um, and I don't know until Zach Alley wants to talk about it. I don't know if you'll
Yeah.
ever really know his why for
Yeah.
why he went and left for West Virginia. Money seems to be a major part of that, and that's fine. But maybe Brent had made it clear that he was going to call the defense, and that was something that Zach Alley said, "I need to go somewhere else." I don't know, but I
Yeah.
know this much: personnel wise, they're in a really good spot with the dudes they're bringing back. You got 4 guys on staff that have coordinated defenses before.
That's
And Nate
amazing.
Bradley, you have a guy that was a head coach last year, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got 2 guys that were interim head coaches on the staff, and Brandon Hall and Nate Dreiling.
Mhm.
And Nate's was for a whole season. So you add into
Okay.
that mix, Brent Venables, who was a defensive coordinator, and now, Wes Goodwin. So I thought this was the inevitable move.
I did
I
too.
didn't think Dreiling, I didn't know Nate. And I still I don't know much about him. I'm still learning as time. But I kind of thought the eventual move when Zach Alley left was, hey, Brent's going to call his own defense, and we're going to bring in a linebackers coach. And in the end, that's what happened. And I think it's a good move. I think it's going to be.
I do
I think it's.
too. I have had a lot of respect for Brent Venables, and I've loved him for 25 years. So I have nothing bad to say about that. I mean, he, in my opinion, is the best defensive mind out there for football. So
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with him calling the shots because I think he obviously knows what he's doing, and he's brought our defense a long way since he got here. And I know that other things kind of need to catch up and all of that, but I'm thinking it'll get there. I'm excited about Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. That kid is all over the place. I don't
He
know
was
if
at
you've
gymnastics
seen.
on Friday.
Yes, he has been at gymnastics, basketball, tennis. I don't know what else, but that kid has been all over the place, and good
My
for him.
daughter, my daughter works at Chick-fil-A in Norman, and she's always telling me that he's there. So there's that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and it just you want to have a dude at quarterback. You got to have a
Yes,
dude, and it feels like he's a dude.
it
Now
does.
you add in a guy who's coming in with an offensive coordinator that he's familiar with. I think
Hmm.
that's awesome, and
Yes,
it's a good fit. I'm intrigued by it. I'm excited for it, and I think it's
yes.
going to be good for Michael Hawkins too. I
I
think
do too. I do
it'll make it
too.
better for him in learning the offense.
I agree. And I really like that kid. You know, this past season was a struggle and I hated the struggles that he had, but it's cool to see him, and like his dad played for OU, and so he's got that OU DNA, and so I know he wants to, obviously. I mean, he
Yeah.
had opportunities to go elsewhere, I'm
Yes.
sure, and he chose to stay just knowing what was coming in and what was happening, and that says a lot about that kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the two of them for sure, and whatever else we've got coming in, I'm excited. I hope it goes well. I I've gone to the ladies clinics that Brent Venables does in the summer ever since they started, so I'm excited for that this summer. It's always fun. I took a friend with me last year for the first time, and she she's kind of nervous, to talk to people because like the coaches are there, there's players there. Billy Bowman was our group leader last year, and it's like these big name kids are there, Danny Stutzman and Jaron, and we met Jackson Arnold last year, and these kids. They're just kids, but like they're celebrities kind of to us. And so it was really cool to be there. And I was just telling my friend, I was like, I'm just going to go up to them and talk to them because they're here, and
That's what they're doing.
that's what they're there for. And they were all so kind. The coaches, the players, the staff, they would just hug you and call you by name and act like you were their best friend. And I have nothing but good to say about the staff. I think there's a lot of talent there on the roster and on the staff, and I'm really ready to see it play out on the field. I really
Do you
am.
know what I think too? I'm glad that you said that about the ladies' clinic, and
Hmm.
that things like that matter to them, and
Oh,
they want to do.
absolutely. Hmm.
And I've said this a lot. Everything about this program is where you want a program to be, except the on the field results, which is
No.
like the number one most important thing. But in the foundation, in the kind of circle of trust with Soul Mission, with
Yes,
how Joe C has been integral in putting together the front office, to what Brent Venables' approach has been. And even an event like that, they make you feel special. I mean,
they do.
I did the end of the year banquet last year. I emceed it, and it was just awesome. They cared,
They
and
do.
stories that they would tell were amazing. So yeah, it's one of those things to where it's hard to see people not get what they want in the wins and losses because that's what matters. But it
Yes.
sucks knowing how in a really good spot the program is when you think about all the support
Yes.
and the off the field ways in
Yes.
which they built the program. It's really been good.
I agree with that, and it has been a struggle the last few years, and I know that this year is kind of like a make or break season, it feels like,
Feels like it.
coming up, and I really hope it all works out and evens out because, like you said, it is hard to sit there and see, okay, this is going on. Soul Mission is incredible, and just hearing about that and the players talking about it and the players' families talking about it, and it's just exactly where you would want your kid to go and who you would want your kid to play for because they care about the person and not just the player. And that seems to be a struggle at a lot of places. So, yeah, I'm ready to see the on field results. And you just have to believe that it's coming. You know, I mean, the talent is there, the knowledge is there. I just have to keep believing that, okay, it's like we're right there. We're right there. It's coming.
Um,
Okay, well, let's talk some Super Bowl.
let's do it.
What are your thoughts? Who did you want in the Super Bowl, or are you okay with who's there?
No, I'm not okay with who's there. It's the Chiefs.
Okay.
I'm a Raiders fan. I've been a Raiders fan my whole life. And we had the edge for a long time, but never had a run like this. I'll tell you what. I root for Jalen.
Yes,
I root for who's it? Grant Calcaterra, who I think is still in Philly, and I
Lane
root for.
Johnson.
But man, Kansas City's so likable beyond Travis Kelce because you've got Creed Humphrey, who's one of the my all-time favorites. James Winchester, who is my favorite Sooner outside of Baker of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a good group of dudes, and there's always Sooner support. So I'm gonna be I'm on the air during the Super Bowl. I've done a radio show for a decade now. This is our 10th
Mm-hmm.
year where we are on the air during the Super Bowl,
How
and
cool.
I'm going to be in LA for it. But it's always kind of weird because there's a moment when I grew up, the Super Bowls were all blowouts, and the NFC dominated the AFC. It's just that was my life growing up. Well, now over the last 5 or 6 years, 7, 8, 9 years, we've had great Super Bowls.
We really have.
The Chiefs have only played in one blowout, and it's when they got kicked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
So, right? I mean, they played great games. So
Yes.
I'm excited about it. I love this
I am
game.
too.
I love them. I'm never someone that's like, oh, Super Bowl needs to get over. I love it because it means, you're seeing two of the best. And I think, Detroit was the best team in the NFC this year, right?
They were
But
fun to watch.
they got too beat up. They were
They
too beat
did.
up on defense. And
Poor Aiden
eventually,
Hutchinson.
yeah, and he got tore up.
He did.
Ranch, they were tore up defensively. But Philadelphia, after some struggles early when they wanted Sirianni fired, they've been the best team in the.
They have.
See, they're fun.
They
So
are.
I notice fun is a big theme with me so far on this. I like fun. So I think it's going to be a good game. I
I
really
do
do.
too.
I'd
Well,
like Philadelphia, but my partner on Sunday night, big Philadelphia, and he's always wrong. So I might have to.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I follow all of our OU players in the NFL
Right.
as best I can. But, of course, Jalen always sticks out to me and Baker and the Chiefs. Because I can watch the Chiefs at home most of the time. They're on my TV. So that's fun and easy to watch. But we went to Philly back in November. And let me tell you, that was a good experience. It was a lot of fun. Those fans are fun. I actually went to Dallas last year when Philly played there. And that was not as fun, even though Philly won. Those Dallas fans, man. I'm not a Dallas fan, so I guess you're not. You're a Raider. But I am not a fan of Dallas Cowboys fans. I probably shouldn't say that on here. But anybody that knows me knows, like, I did not grow up a Cowboys fan. We only watched the Cowboys when Barry Spitzer coached. That's just what we did. Like,
But you
my
have to
dad,
put it in your throat when you're from Oklahoma because it's all we get usually.
I know, but my dad taught me to say Boo Dallas, and I said that before I said Mama. And my mom never let me forget that. And that is not a lie. But I just did not grow up a Cowboys fan. So I am rooting for Jalen Sunday night. I have a Jalen shirt. I'll have it on. It will be hard for me to not want the Chiefs to win. And I actually told somebody the other day, I said, I'll be happy either way, but I'll also be sad either way. Because I feel like I still can see Jalen walking off the field 2 years ago from the Super Bowl when they got beat by the Chiefs. And oh, for him to be the first OU quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, that would be incredible. Like, I would love to see that. But also, like, Patrick Mahomes to win his fourth Super Bowl is before he's 30. Like, come on. That's crazy. And I like Patrick Mahomes. He's fun to watch, and all the Sooners on that team. So, yeah, like I said, I'll be happy either way, but I'll be sad either way. So, it'll be a good game. But I'm ultimately rooting for Jalen.
I hope Philly wins, but I'm afraid Kansas City is going to make it 3 in a row. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
I think you definitely could be right. But I'm a Tom Brady fan. I watched Tom Brady all through college and all throughout his career. We went to Gillette. We went and saw him in Tampa Bay. So it's funny to think that, like, I watched him all of those years dominate. And it seems like whoever's dominating. I mean, the Patriots, now the Chiefs, Alabama football, OU softball, like, people are hating. You know what I mean? So part of me wants the Chiefs to win because I'm like, it makes people mad that the Chiefs might win. Now I want them to win even more. So yeah, it just, people hate on the winners. So I'm like, well, be better. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so
Life for my teams.
yes. So you went to women's gymnastics on Friday, and I was not able to watch. I was sad. I had to go to a banquet with my husband, so duty calls. But I always follow those girls, and I'll actually be there Friday night. I'm bringing up my nieces. So those girls are fun to watch. That Faith Torres, she sticks out to me. And of course, Jordan Bowers, they're incredible to watch. So that's cool that you got to go. I think I saw a picture on Twitter, I think, that you were there. I can't remember who was in the picture. Were you down there with John Mateer?
No, I didn't go. That was all the One Oklahoma people. So,
Okay.
yeah, and I say people, they're great.
Yeah.
That was really cool. We're season ticket holders for women's gym. My youngest daughter she's not the biggest fan of crowds for
Get that.
so, but she loves going to the women's gymnastics meet, and the wife likes to go. So it's fun. We have a
I
good
get that.
and we yell about the scoring and we get into it, and I'm cheering like a maniac. But it's great because I love KJ and I love
Well, I
Lou
do too.
and I love their staff. They're good people. And we need to continue to get more people out to these
Yes.
events, but they're fun, man. I'm telling you what, that program is as elite can be, and you're going into a conference where it's the elite of the elite week in and week out.
Yep.
I hope we get to the point where 10,000 is the norm
I
for
do
those
too.
events, but they do a lot of great things around it. The show around it is great, and it fits into a nice little timetable too.
They do.
You're
Yeah.
out
It's
an hour
it's
30.
Last year I went over after the opener at Loves Field. My niece and I were there for that doubleheader, and then we went over to the women's gymnastics meet
Oh,
that
that's
night.
cool.
It was Michigan, and it was packed. I was going to say, I don't remember how many were there that night, but I bet it was close to 10,000. That was the biggest crowd that I had ever seen at a women's gymnastics meet. I mean, we usually make a meet or two a season. My nieces love to go. We've been going, taking them for years. But that meet was packed. I mean, packed. And so I used to get like general admission tickets, and we would just kind of sit wherever. You could even go down in the lower bowl and find somewhere to sit, but that's not really the case anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm always sure to get reserved seats because I like to see what's going on. But they're fun to watch. So I'm excited. I haven't seen them in person yet this season, so I'll be there Friday night. And then men's gymnastics. Well, in college, I went to a men's gymnastics meet, but that's been a minute. But Eric's been wanting to go for a couple years, and it just hadn't worked out. So we'll be there. I'm actually coming up Friday night with my nieces for women's gym, coming back home, and then me and Eric are coming back on Saturday for men's gym and basketball.
That's a weekend.
So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Yeah. I'm really hoping, I'm planning to make it back up for the women's game on the 20th. I have been talking online a little bit with Peyton Verhulst. She's like my favorite, like, little girl crush, I guess you could say. But a side note, on my birthday, Bedlam softball is on my birthday. So I obviously am planning to get tickets to that one. I already told Eric. I'm like, that's my birthday. We're going.
Got to do it.
I mean, it's Bedlam. We'll be there.
It's going to
We'll
be. Oklahoma State's going to be pretty good too, from everything that I've read and everything that I've seen. That's going to be a good team too.
They will.
They always are. I mean, I know they're reloading their roster, but it should be neat to see those.
They got Ruby Malin, so she's
It
a
is.
fun pitcher. Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah, she is.
So yeah. Okay, so back to spring football. Did you catch the announcement this weekend from Nebraska? about canceling
I
their.
saw Matt Rules. We talked about it on the show, and Coach Stoops talked about it this week, and they're debating not having a spring game,
Yes.
but not because of injuries. You know, Chris Kleiman and Kansas State canceled their spring game 2 years ago because they didn't have enough defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rumor here is that he doesn't want to risk losing any players to the portal.
Yep. That's what he
I
said.
don't know, because there's no tampering is rampant. It doesn't even nothing matters anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
you do whatever you want. So I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying. I don't know if you have to cancel the spring game for it. You know, I don't know what kind of money that makes. Yeah, 50,000 people there last year, but
That's a lot.
interesting for the reasons. When you're worried about people poaching your roster, and this is Nebraska. I mean, this isn't my alma mater, Tulsa, or someone like that. This is Nebraska. So
Yeah.
interesting on that front.
It was interesting when I saw it. I was like, is this like a joke? Parody? Did this really happen? But it did. I mean, that's what he said, that they're thinking about doing it. So I just thought, is that what we've come to? Like, I mean, I have mixed feelings about NIL. I mean, I fully support the kids getting what they deserve and getting paid and earning for their name. I mean, they're many celebrities, like I said. I mean, I know they're just kids, but they're celebrities in their sport, in their town, and they deserve that. I do feel like there should be maybe some more regulation on it, which I'm not the one to try to figure out what that regulation is. I literally have no idea. But it is kind of crazy. I would just hate for something like that for us to lose a spring game or something, similar, just because, oh, we don't want them to see what we've got going on over here. And it seems kind of crazy, but I mean, in all honesty, at the same time, you're like, okay, well, I can see why he would say it, because the portal window is going to open up, and then what?
Boom. And if someone sees, like, we got the Giovanni Gibson wide receiver started to get some buzz. What if he goes out and careers in a spring game and everyone sees it? Then you might have to back channels, Georgia or Oregon or somebody that's trying to be a big spender. I get. And Bob Stoops even said, I work with Rick Neuheisel a lot over at SiriusXM, and he's one of those that believes that spring football might just go away. Period. Now I don't think so.
Oh man, I hope not.
But I love the spring game. I'm going to miss it this year, but it's awesome. It's one of my favorite events of the calendar, because Oklahoma's committed to making a show out of it. And you see the competition matters to these guys. So it's going to be a huge recruiting tool. I love it. And that's the thing too. It's just, we sit here and we talk about all these sports that need support. They all do.
They do.
And it's not cheap, to go to all these games.
It's not. I mean, it is definitely an investment, but like for us, that's just what we enjoy. And I mean, we've been in Mexico on our anniversary or on a cruise or whatever, and I'm listening to softball. We're watching football or March Madness or whatever, because that's just how we work. And I'm thankful that Eric is a sports nut like me. He's not as loud about it as I am, which is probably for the best, but he'll let me do whatever. And I try to be fair. Like, we're planning to make it to Stillwater a few times for some baseball games, and we're going up for a basketball game in a few weeks. So I try to throw him a bone every now and then. But usually I'm like, you just go on. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to stop you. But I'm not a big fan of that orange. But
don't blame you.
So I guess you probably don't make it to many baseball games just because of the timing and everything. But I'm excited for baseball.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. What Skip's doing this past off season, I think, I don't get to. I used to do baseball before I did softball. I'm filling for Toby.
Okay.
And I love the sport. I grew up playing it. It's the sport I know the most about. I sucked at baseball. But yeah, Skip's awesome. And they've got this is another sport that's taken a big step up and going to the SEC. There's a big time commitment from all the schools in the SEC. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be, again, my theme. It's going to be fun. They're a really
excited.
Good for Cam Johnson, a big left-handed transfer out of LSU. He's going to be solid. I think they're going to be offensively different, but aggressive. And then pitching is just going to be rock solid. So it'll be, and I'm excited about the changes they've made too, right?
Yes, me too.
Seating, and I know some people get mad about, the inability to be able to watch from the berm for free, but they'll still have that for the students. But yeah, I think it's a necessary thing to do for a sport that needs a cash infusion, just like all non-revenue sports do. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I got tickets to several games this season, so I've been known to hit softball and baseball back to back, and that's a long day, but I've done it.
Worth it. Well worth it, isn't it?
If it works out, I'm here for it. So Did you see a couple of weeks ago there was a tennis player. His name was Bruno. I forgot his last name. I think it's Naveen or something. But he's this big dude. I'll have to find this on Twitter and send it to
For
you.
OU, for OU, yeah, 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 Bruno.
Yes, yes, sorry.
Nick Kroll, yeah, the everyone wanted him to come play tight end.
Yes, I was cracking up. And he said, okay, if I get 500 people to come to the tennis match, I'll try out for the football team. And I guess,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that didn't happen, but that was funny. You know,
Well,
I've never
he's
been
so good
to.
at
I've never been to a tennis match or to the tennis facilities, and that's kind of sad because it's free, so I should go.
Yeah, hey, if you're looking for the best value on campus, it's men's and women's tennis because it's absolutely free to get in, and it's two really fun.
Absolutely. Yes. And they're fun to watch. And again, I follow them on Twitter, but I've never been. I just need to make it a point and go. So
Do it.
this question might catch you off guard. I don't know. But if you had to
Okay.
pick like a Sooner MVP for this week, who would it be on any
For this
sport?
week,
Yes, for this week.
well, it's kind of tough because you split the women's basketball. Well, you had two losses in women's basketball,
Yeah.
so that's it's kind of tough. But and then Jeremiah Fears had a game where he didn't score, and then he played much better
Yes.
yesterday. We're not quite to diamond sports yet, but I would take Brent Venables for making the decision to just be his own defensive coordinator. That would be the way I would go. Because you can pick about anyone on the men's hoops team that you want, but give me BV and just saying, hey, listen, if we're gonna consider this to be Brent's last stand, or however people want to label it, I'm gonna go down doing what I do best, which is calling my defense. So that's what I would say on that front. Because Brandon Goodwin, really sharp defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. Unfortunate the way it finished for him at Clemson, and you bring in Nate Dreiling, who appears to be a very strong young up and comer who has a good recruiting pedigree about him. So yeah, I'd go with BV. I'll take the low hanging fruit on that one.
Like that answer though. That I don't know that my brain would have gone that direction, so I'm here for it. I'm glad you went that way. So, okay, well, I really appreciate your time today
But thanks.
and coming on for me. Do you have any closing thoughts that you would like to share?
Sure, I'm grateful for you having me on.
Well,
Um,
thank
I
you.
hope Eric. I hope he realizes how awesome it is to have a wife that's into sports. I think our buddy Gabe Richardson with Candace, they're in that too. Gabe, you guys better
Yes.
realize how lucky you are
Yes.
because as soon as I get home, the wife's like, "You're gonna really watch more sports." So I'm grateful for y'all's support, and yeah, just keep spreading the word, man, Larissa. You're crushing it. You got a great personality about you, and I'm just happy to be on your show with you
Well,
tonight.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I am thankful for Eric. I mean, like I said, we've been known to have three screens going at once with three different games, sometimes three different events. So, it's definitely a fun household that we live in. So I'm thankful for it as well. So and I'm glad that he does recognize it, but I will tell him. So,
Yeah,
well,
let him know.
thank you for your time today and all of your talk and expertise on all the things. So it was a lot of fun. So I will
Thanks for
see
having
you
me, Larissa.
soon, my friend.
Anytime.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank
Boomer
you.
Sooner.
Bye, Boomer Sooner.
Bye.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's special episode with my friend Chris Plank. That was an amazing interview with lots of information. I hope you guys enjoyed every bit of it. I would like to thank you again, each one of you, for your overwhelming support on social media follows and podcast listens and downloads. If you haven't hit subscribe or like yet across all social media and podcast platforms, I encourage you to do so now. Thank you to those of you who have ordered my merch. If you have done so, please send me a photo. I would love to share that on social media. Everything is linked on my link tree. It's a link in all of my bios across social media where you can find me at Sooner Girl Pod on all platforms. Again, like and follow and subscribe on all the platforms and invite your friends. And guess what, ladies? Coming soon is the Lock Her Room. You will want to join the huddle. You won't want to miss out on this. So please stay tuned for info coming on that soon. Again, if you are interested in sponsorship or advertising opportunities like our friends Therapy to Go, please shoot me an email or a message on social media. Thanks again, everybody.